Hey, my friends, it's Brendon and Jamie for your Growth Day morning show. I hope you had a wonderful start to your day so far. And if you haven't, we're going to kick that up a little bit with some encouragement, some ideas about being more focused and disciplined, and also just might help you really find your center again as we're here at the end of the week to kind of find your place. As much as you've been working so hard throughout the week, sometimes you lose yourself and all the tasks and all the to-dos and all the promotions and launches and team and kids and food and all the things that you have to do to maintain life. So we might talk a little bit about that today with the one and only Jamie Carlina. Good morning. Cheers.
Good morning. Cheers. Happy Growth Day.
Good morning, friends. Happy Growth Day. Nice having you all here. How you doing, Jamie?
So
I love
great.
this sweater today.
Oh, you know what? The sweater, I'm like, listen, here's the real story behind the sweater. I'm in the middle of the book launch and then made the big announcement first on Growth Day about the big event coming up. And that's the fun part. The part you and I also tend to reveal on this show is like the behind the scenes part, right? So I was up pretty much all night and not sleeping, working my butt off on all the stuff for the big, huge event coming up, like all the unglamorous stuff, like the legal stuff, the coverage, the liability, like all the stuff. So
Everyone sees the Super Bowl, but they do not understand the mornings in the gym and the throwing the ball and the talking with the team and the watching the plays and doing it. Like everyone sees the big event, but they never understand the hard work and the discipline that lives beneath that all. And also the tedious crap. Who had to do tedious crap this week?
Yeah.
Raise your hands or let us know down below too, because in Growth Day, we're always talking about motivation and joy and energy and feel the day, but sometimes the day's like, that sucked. Like, look, you have hours that are like sometimes legal stuff. No offense to all the lawyers watching. But sometimes just like, or administrative stuff that you don't particularly find your strength or joy, and you got to plow through, you got to work through it. It's super not fun. They don't see those things. They just see the bright, shiny, oh, Jamie's live. They have no idea the work behind the scenes.
Literally, the striped shirt is giving me life today. It's helping me feel the day. Yesterday, it was the leaf. I was talking about the green leaf and just trying to feel it. Today, it's a striped shirt, which my daughter calls Bert and Ernie, because she loves Sesame Street right now. So Wonder says, Ernie, Bert, Bert, Ernie, Ernie, Bert. So that's her version of what this is. But for me, it's life. Yeah, I'm really excited. Exactly what you said, though. I was up all night doing the tedious stuff, but I think it's important to share that because all of us, everyone live on Growth Day with us right now, to make anything happen, I think a lot of times it comes with stuff it's not so fun that we don't want to do. And I was like doing admin work all night, obsessed with all the details. I've never done a live event before. It's my first ever one.
Entrepreneurs watching this, or people in companies who have started an initiative from scratch. They know exactly what you're targeting. When you start something and it's just you, it's you at your kitchen table, it's you at your desk, it's you on the phone, it's you building the things. And people, I think, genuinely don't understand that. However, I know our community right here, these are like strivers. These are people who, they get it. Like, that's one thing I love about our community. This is a hard working, humble, go at it, try to be your best group of people. Because I've been seeing and watching everyone's comments, even when we suck, we all are like, we're striving. These are strivers. We call you guys growth crew sometimes. Like, this is our, like, every day I don't feel great about doing something. I'm like, I got a growth crew out there. They're doing the same stuff. They're working through the same. Jamie experienced nothing last night that is unique.
Yeah.
Nor did I, nor did anyone watching this. And when you think what you're going through is unique, this is my message to everyone in this community. Whenever you think you're going through something unique, one, humble yourself. Someone's already been there and already done that. In fact, in world history, we know 1 billion people probably have gone through that. So next, we have to go, hey, okay, that can either bother me and say, oh, I'm just part of it, or that can inspire you and go, you know what, other people have gone through this too. How cool is that I get to share this journey? I get to climb this mountain with other people who have faced it too. I'm not on this mountain alone. I'm not inventing the mountain. God's built this path a long time ago. It is road war. And those reminders, those are what keep me going when I'm doing the paperwork, doing the tedious stuff, doing the editing, doing the, like, I was up video editing last night, a bunch of stuff I had to edit, and I'm going through it. I was like, this just hurts right now. And I'm like, but think of how many YouTubers right now are dreaming of editing their first video and getting their first 100 views or first 1,000 views. That's so cool, you know? So we're all part of it. Growth Day, we're all part of it, guys. We're all part of it.
Yeah. So you were up all night video editing. Like you were.
Yeah, up until probably 9 was that part of it. And then after that, it was just a ton of strategy and thinking through. We have huge things going on in Growth Day. I won't announce until probably April, but you guys are going to hear a lot of news. And it's just a lot. Like Jamie's doing a book launch. We're doing a launch of Growth Day. I simultaneously run a bunch of other companies. And so it's a lot. So how did you pull through? Because that's how I do it. What do you do?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I don't know how this is happening, but there's days where you like, we both went on a walk at 5 p.m. at the same time. Like, I don't know what's going on. I think we're just all meant to be in community together and sharing this like real stuff going on, because last night, this is a true story for anyone who, like you said, someone's already done it, right? And I think the beauty in that is it helps us feel less alone when we're going through this space of like, oh my gosh, things aren't going my way, whatever's, this isn't as glamorous as I thought, whatever. Thankfully, I've been through that rodeo so many times in building cosmetics where it was never as glamorous as I thought it was going to be. So I'm used to that part. But last night, it's just funny, you're editing video. So last night, I didn't get the graphics in time for the event that had the website on them, which is, when you want people to share the news. I haven't even I shared on Growth Day yesterday in the morning show about the big event, but I hadn't posted it on my own social till today. So last night I needed those graphics. They hadn't come in yet. So I was in that app called One Shot, literally designing, I don't know.
InShot.
InShot, thank you. I was in InShot designing the graphics to have a website on the bottom because they hadn't come in yet. And so like you do whatever it takes, right? You do what you got to do. So I was up all night designing all these graphics, and that's some of them are what I was able to post this morning on my Instagram, because we're 9 days out from the event. And so it's like, you do what you got to do. And what I was going to say is, this is focus week on Growth Day Morning Show, right? One of the things Brendon says a lot that so many of you have posted and reposted and interpreted in your own way is, who needs you on your A game? And for me, that's also another way of saying, like, what's my bigger mission? What's the thing? Who am I serving that's greater than myself? What's the thing bigger?
Yes.
And, it reminds me of so many times at Cosmetics when we built this company from scratch, right? And tried to enter this crowded space, which felt impossible to break through in the whole beauty world, and dealt with years and years of rejections and no's and all that. When we finally started growing, I really think how we used focus and how the leaders, when I finally started hiring enough, when I could finally afford to hire people, and we grew to over 1,000 employees, and we had leaders so much smarter than me in all these departments, and how we were able to grow. One of the big reasons was focus. And it's funny, I was talking to Paulo about this last night.
Love that.
By the way, can I just share something with you, keeping it real? Paulo watches these morning shows.
What? Does he really? Hey, Paulo! I love him.
No, but this is his nature, because for 10 years on QVC, right? Here's the thing, you guys. For 10 years.
Oh, right. Yeah. He's
watching on QVC. He watches the show by the second in the green room, and then he gives me feedback after on what worked, what didn't work, what people responded to. So now, though, I'm not selling anything. I'm just showing up to grow with Brendon and it's just celebrating community. And he still gives me feedback. And I'm like, I don't want to hear it.
Good man. Good.
No,
everyone, but you want it. You love that. I mean, you ask me often. Listen, high performers ask for feedback. You do. You ask me, how's this going? You check in with me all the time. Is this okay? Do we like this? Are we having fun? And
definitely.
I think that's a huge thing to performance, but also, to passion and discipline. Like if you're not getting the feedback, there's nothing to challenge yourself on. And if there's nothing to challenge yourself on, then you'll lose the passion, right? It's just like the company, if you're running a company and it doesn't grow, you start losing the passion because you're like, oh, there's no rhythm to our growth. We're not pushing any boundary here. We're not trying new things. And so I think it's a huge thing. So
It's
shout out to
huge.
Paulo. As long as I understand too, we might not always want it from our spouses. I totally
That's
get
the
it.
thing.
But
That's the thing. You know, for me, you know me, I will ask. I remember the first time I did a keynote on your stage and you instantly went into, here's what you could, all the things that I could. I'm like, oh, tell me more, tell me more. Like, feedback is such a gift. Like, I have no ego about it and I crave it. Like, I crave
yeah,
it. And then I would
yeah.
say the one caveat is when it's your spouse, sometimes you just don't, like, if you hung the painting wrong, you don't want to hear about it. Like, you know what I mean? So that's the tricky part, but I'm so grateful.
Sure.
How amazing. He's literally up in the morning watching this show. And he
Wow, that's
adores
so
you,
great. Hey,
of
man.
course. So,
Oh, he's the man. I
yeah.
appreciate that. That's super kind. And
But
Denise watches too. And
yeah,
I will say I love her feedback. Maybe
yeah.
not around the house or about how I lead cups like
That's
this.
it.
This is, I don't know if you all see that. That's the morning shake there. It's so thick out of it. So I get a lot of feedback about not leaving these around the house, but Denise has guided me to being a better man. She's helped me build a better community and business. She's helped me choose our offerings and our design, our feel, and
It helped me pick
has
the book cover.
helped you pick the book cover. I mean, almost everything that looks good in my career or brand came from some conversation with Denise. So yeah, I know we both lucked out on people supporting the dream and doing the hard work behind it.
Yeah.
That, Paulo wasn't on, QVC a curbillion times, but he's running the company, and that, like, those things are priceless. And I actually, I know this is gonna sound weird, I encourage couples to give each other way more feedback. They just need to learn how to do it and where to pick their targets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, you don't need, like, I love how you said, you don't need feedback on everything, and you have to do it with openness and grace and humility and compassion for the other person too, which is hard. The more you're around people, the easier it is to be flippant and be like, pop, 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 pop. And we have to remind ourselves, oh, right, everybody is sensitive to feedback. Let me enter this conversation. Like, even when I gave you got done on the stage, right? And here I am, I'm nervous, right? I'm talking to Jamie Kern Lima. She's just spoken on my stage as a gift to my audience, blew it out of the water, got an unbelievable standing ovation. Probably my very first ever moment where I saw somebody on stage for their real first time, in terms of like a full keynote about their story, smash it that hard. And I'm backstage and I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I'm nervous, but I'm gonna give her some feedback. And she's more successful than me. She just crushed it out there. But also, if you have a passion about a thing, or you observed a thing a lot of times, or you worked a lot of things, and you feel that compelling, the way to do it is you enter the conversation softly. So I entered. I said, I don't remember how timid I was. I was like, Jamie, that was so amazing. I'm hugging you. We're celebrating. We're like basically dancing back there. And I was like, would you like any feedback on? And I'm like so sensitive. Would you like any feedback on that? Because I saw something. And you're like, oh, let's go. And I said, oh, you sure? And so I like delicately walked you to the stage. Everyone was going away. And then when I saw you were in there, I'm like grabbing your arm. I'm just pulling. I'm like, look what you can do. And it was great because you were open to it. And I think that's important. But also I was very sensitive to it, because a lot of people who I've done that to, that really shakes them up, Jamie. Could you imagine you speak to a couple thousand of my audience, you come off stage and I'm like, I have some tips for you. Not everybody jams with that.
Right.
So high performer, Jamie, give her a round of applause for taking the feedback. And
always.
She so improved on it. And me too. She gives me tons of feedback, which has been super helpful.
Yeah, no, feedback's almost always a gift. Yeah, I think anyone who works with a friend or a family member or a partner or a spouse, then it's so tricky, right? Because you have the delicate balance of when you bring it all in and all that. And but anyways, one thing I want to share, just in case someone needs this reminder or inspiration today, is really around the idea of focus. And we're by the way, focus. We're finishing up Focus Week on Growth Day Morning Show. Today is our 25th show. Is that wild? Because we're finishing 5 weeks, right? So this would be our 25th show of the Growth Day Morning Show, which I feel like we just started yesterday, just with an idea, and like we just showed up.
Thank you all for joining us. This is Jamie and I just putting ourselves out there every day before we jump in heavily into our days. And so joining us, kicking off with energy, being here, we watch your comments before and after and during, and just knowing that you've allowed us to be here and supported this show, and you tagged your friends and brought people on, and you watch together on Facebook now, and teams are celebrating it with their teams and sharing it with everybody. And I know people in lots of different companies and organizations who watch together now, the replays, and they send it together. And I don't know that we knew that it would be like something that would grow, and given that we just started, but I appreciate everybody here, and we love being part of this community. We love being here for you every day, and just appreciate you guys.
You know, one of the things you always share that's so inspiring to everyone is, show up, but also no matter how small you start something that matters. And, the truth is, when we started this morning show, I think it was the day up, I remember, or the day before, I remember saying to you, Brendon, maybe, I don't even know if we'll like it. It may not even be fun. I don't even know how it'll go. We've never done this. Right. And wow, 25 shows later, the most incredible human beings on the planet are in this community right now, live, sharing this experience with us on Facebook. I'm just so grateful and excited about how it's just become this boost of joy and inspiration, and how all together as a community, we're really like setting our day up for success. We're setting our day up with inspiration and growth and gratitude and frameworks and nonsense sometimes, but really great content other times. And I'm just really, really grateful. I couldn't have imagined it being so fun. And also, I think that when things are fun, they're and sometimes easy. You know what I mean? And it's just because of the community. Yeah. And by the way, tag somebody, anybody who you think, could use a boost of inspiration in their life, and joy and belief and confidence and growth, and just maybe needs this in their life. Maybe they're, having a hard time, which who isn't this past year, right? So tag your friends or anyone that you think would love to be part of this with you and with us every morning, and just join us in the Growth Day Morning Show. It's free. It's live. Monday through Friday, 7:30 in the morning Pacific time.
25 shows. I can't even fathom that. Feels like we just started. I mean, I don't know. Does anyone feel like New Year's was 7 years ago? Sometimes I'm like, I mean, was New Year's a short while ago or a long while ago? I would love to see comments. Was New Year's a short time ago or a long time ago? I would love to gauge like how people are experiencing the year right now, because in some ways, Jamie and I are in this group. I have this group of, we're in Growth Day, obviously, and we're Growth Day teachers and coaches. And we have this group of our friends that we are always together with. And I got this notification on my phone where it shows you like all these photos of a year ago. And a year ago, we were, we just finished a big event. Jamie spoke at it, I think. And then we did, we had our mastermind, that's what it was. And anyway, I saw these pictures and I looked at them. That feels so long ago. But then at the same time, when I think of all the things that happened in the last year, it's also like a short, I don't know, it's such a weird time bender right now. I don't know if anyone experiences that, but it's been super strange.
I think just one call out about that, and this is again going back to focus and who needs you on your A game. I think for you, having such a big vision of Growth Day and building that, like when we are so focused on the bigger mission, on something bigger than ourselves, on serving, I think that's when everything just flows and flies and all the things. And I was talking to Paulo about this, that on the topic of focus, that with It Cosmetics, when we did finally start building, finally got over 1,000 employees, one of the things is we were laser focused on what is that mission and what is our authentic mission, right? And not getting distracted by what someone else is doing or what's hot over here or what's the buzzword of the moment, right?
Yeah.
Right now in this day and age, so many people are talking about pivoting because we are coming out of a hard year and people are having to pivot and are having to do things in their businesses online, et cetera, et cetera. But I think when you do pivot or when you consider pivoting, I think it is so important that you remember, your bigger mission, and that you keep that through line of authenticity to it.
Yes.
And
Focus
they
and
were
discipline. Absolutely.
focus and discipline on what that authentic through line is for you. Right now, people are so
Yes.
tempted to pivot to all kinds of stuff that it's a distraction. And I remember inside my company at Cosmetics, when I finally started hiring people from the beauty industry, which I wasn't from, I had no beauty experience. I was finally able to hire different experts as we grew and grew and grew to over 1,000 employees. And one of the things that would happen all the time is they would do things to me that was, data-driven research on what products are hot right now or what competitors doing what.
Mm-hmm.
And listen,
Right.
I appreciated it. But what I would say over and over and over, Brendon, to the point where I think like everyone could repeat this in my company probably, and I'll say it forever. I still say it to them, and I don't run the business anymore. I still say it to them when I see them do something. I'm like, oh, I always say like our greatest threat to our business isn't what our competition's doing. It's not our competition. Our greatest threat to our business is if we ever get distracted by what our competition is doing and actually get tempted to dilute our own secret sauce. And I would say that over and over and over. And I believe that's how we were able to build something that mattered. I believe it was how we were able to build something that lasted. I believe it was how we were able to build something that was different from all the other brands, which then made it valuable, which then made it a huge acquisition target for a lot of other people. So,
that focus, so
just
key.
calling that out today when it comes to Focus Week on Growth Day.
Well, a lot of people, I think when you add the word, when we say focus and we say and discipline, a big part of that and discipline part is honoring the difficulties and the hardships without quitting or pivoting. People don't realize, forgive the sports metaphor, but maybe it helps for some people, is, Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl in 2001, 2002, 2003. I might have my dates a little off, forgive me. But he wins 3 in a row, basically. Then he goes into 10 years. They don't win. A decade does not win. A decade gets older. A decade, teams change. A decade, everyone gets younger. A decade, but he keeps going, wins again. Everyone has that winter of time when there's all the reasons to pivot and quit because it's hard. Look at Churchill, right? They call it his wilderness years. So many years where he's out, he's on the out. They don't listen to him, they don't respect him. He's like, and then he goes on to save the world in World War II, right? Or look at like any modern sports figure or any great leader. There were times when you weren't number one, when you were down, when you felt like you were at the beginning of the mountain and you're watching everybody go by. And it's just like, no, sometimes that slow and steady wins the race. We all know that. And I think it's true. In my industry, the number of people who I've seen come on, huge, huge video views, or all of a sudden they've got 1 million on YouTube, or they've got, all these emails, or did that event, or that huge book, or the podcast blows up, right? And I'll see that. And a part of me will go, I should do what they're doing because look, they just skate by me on how many views they got or subscribers or whatever. And I'm like, I just do the Brendon show. Like literally, I do my thing the way that I enjoy it, the way that I feel is my unique contribution to the world. I'm going to stay on that. And you know what? Over a period of 10 years, I don't have a peer in a decade long experience, right? Like we, at least that I'm aware of, that over a decade had that many, experiences, video views, events, coaching, clients, like the deep impact online for personal development, in terms of who was actually doing it too, like literally the creator. Like I run it, I build, I'm still video, you heard me, I'm still video editing, right? Like 20 years in. So I think it's important, and I don't say that to be braggadocious, I go, I'm actually slow and steady. I just focus, I show up, I do my thing, and I don't worry about everybody else with all the gimmicks and all the things. And also, when people pass me and they have those spikes, I'm like, that's awesome. I wonder where they're going to be at in 10 years, because I'm willing, no comparison to Tom Brady because I have no sports game whatsoever, but I'm willing to have the 10 years of when it's just the, grinding, working through, but staying disciplined. One thing that people don't know is part of focus and discipline is you're still in the game, like I love Brady's example of, you know, most people, football is only 5-6 months, right? And so his off season isn't entirely different in his routines as his on season, because he's always in training. You're always in training. You're always in motion. So just stay in the game a little bit longer. Many of you, you're so close to having the breakthrough in your business or in your sales or in your marriage or in your health, in your finance. You're so, I mean, just because it's hard doesn't mean you should quit.
Yeah, the breakthrough or the comeback. The breakthrough or the comeback, right? I think both. You know, I mean, and that can be in your business. I mean, you know, as I always share, it was like 3 years of hearing no's. And I mean, that was hard to go, okay, but you know what? That yes is coming. I still believe, you know, every time I would check in with my gut, it felt like I was supposed to stay on the right track. But it's hard when we're in that season where it's not happening in our business, right? It's hard to keep going. But sometimes
But hard is not, we have to teach ourselves, hard is not rare.
Right.
The path is hard.
And I think, and listen, I'm so big on this because we hear from so many people. Okay, I hope I don't say this the wrong way. There are so many people.
Jamie.
There are so many people. There are so many people in the personal growth space who just go, "Don't give up, don't give up," and they've never actually built anything themselves. They're really good at talking about it.
Yes.
But I don't believe the victory is not giving up. I believe the victory is checking in with your knowing and going, is this the dream I'm supposed to keep going after? Yes. You know, when I thought I was in my dream job, I always wanted to host a talk show. My whole life growing up, I watched Oprah, and I was eventually in my dream job. And I had this knowing I was supposed to launch a cosmetics. I knew nothing about it. And I had this big realization that sometimes knowing when to let go of a dream is as important as knowing when to go after one.
Absolutely.
And I trusted my gut. But had I kept that whole like, never quit, though that's the failure, I would have actually failed because I would have stayed somewhere I wasn't supposed to be. So I don't know. Don't even get me started on this whole thing. One thing I was going to say though, really fast.
Oh no, you're right. That's so key.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. That's the entire thing. Like focus and discipline doesn't matter if you're doing it for the wrong ends or you're doing it in a way where the means make you miserable. You know, I mean, everyone else said, what should you focus and discipline about? I'm like, your experience of the day. Yeah. Because you're not your tasks. You're not like focus and discipline isn't about the outcome. It's not about the status. It's not about the external reward. It's a way of being true to yourself. And it's a way of knowing the difference between what's authentic and real to you and important to you and what is distraction or what is inauthentic, right? A lot of people willingly, with great focus and discipline, march on the inauthentic path for years and decades. That is not the right focus and discipline we're talking about. We are talking about you climbing your mountain. We are talking about you finding your inner joy and cultivating that. What is that unique thing that brings your passions and interests into alignment? That unique thing that it's like, oh, that feels right, even if it's hard. Yeah. That feels right, even if I have no idea how to do it most of my life. You know?
Yeah, no, that's so good. I think that's so important to call that out. And I think like when you talk about, you know, going over a decade in this and not getting distracted or tempted to change what you're doing or how you're doing it just because someone popped up with 1 million followers here, it's whatever. It's like, because
my first book came out 20 years ago.
20 years ago. Amazing.
So
but you
I've been doing personal development for 20
like,
years and full time since 2005 or 6.
Yeah.
So it's like 14. This is 15 years.
When we stay
same day, every day. It's like on Groundhog's Day. If you were in Brendon's world, you're like, man, that guy, he just keeps going. It's so 15
same smoothie
years.
in a blender, same everything.
I'm still here. I am teaching 15 years later.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, that's my thing. I love to teach.
Yeah. And just one thought, because I know we're almost out of time today, is like, listen, when I look back at, you know, all the people that lasted and built a brand that lasted, because I've now had the blessing of meeting tens of thousands of entrepreneurs and going on air with them at QVC for 10 years. And the ones that lasted, which is very few, the ones that built something that lasted and mattered, are literally not the smartest, not even the hardest working, not the anything. It's the ones that showed up authentically on air and the same they were in the green room, for better or worse, right? And I talk about that a lot because I think
love that.
That's the way to not burn out. is to
Yeah.
just freaking show up authentically. You're not then worried about having to conform or this or that, or get distracted by who has this or who. It's like when I see you talk about the last 20 years, right? And talk about how you've, of course it's consistent and focused and disciplined, but it's also just authentic to you. Like you haven't done anything similar to what anyone else is doing in the personal growth space ever. It's like you just keep, it's like, and I think that's the beauty. And I think, when we embrace that lesson and we realize like, oh, if I just fully show up with my own thing, like in my example, it didn't take off for at least 3 years, right? So I could have thought, oh, this is so slow. I have no money. Maybe my gut is wrong. Maybe I need to change who I am or what my mission is.
Yeah.
But the biggest victory isn't the outcome, right? It's sticking true to your own authentic, your own authentic mission. And I believe that's, one of the biggest reasons we were able to build a company that lasted, that mattered, that made a difference in that space, and it continues to every day. And I think that's so powerful about what you're saying. And just to end on one note is the idea that you are the godfather of growth is now perpetuating and going everywhere, because
I know you guys.
I was in
Thank you,
Clubhouse for only the second time ever. I still am holding my opinion on how I feel about it right now. I'm going to not judge yet, and I'm going to just observe and take it in. I'm not sure. But I was in there for the second time ever, grateful to be in there and just check it out and be invited and all that stuff. But it was in there to celebrate our friend Tom's launch on
Tom
Clubhouse,
Bilyeu.
right?
I hope you guys follow Tom Bilyeu. He's on
Yes.
Clubhouse now with me too.
I love him. I love Lisa. I love
Oh my
Lisa.
gosh, they're the
Sometimes
greatest
she and I
people.
just leave each other audio texts, and I'm just like, my mood. And same with Jenna Kutcher. So many, oh my gosh. Okay, but anyways, in the Clubhouse, everywhere, boom, 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 everyone's talking into it. Brendon Burchard, godfather of growth. Brendon Burchard, godfather, going on and on and on and on and on. It's this thing I think started by Jay Shetty, if I remember right, taken on a whole life of its own. And I don't know if you're ever going to be able to, I mean, it's a great nickname if you're going to have one. So I wish people would just say, maybe, I led some personal development on the internet years, right? I think that's really more humbly the truth is, like, think so. I was just in the personal development space from the last 20 years. I had this amazing opportunity because I was early into the technology and early into online education. And I think that was, but listen, because everyone who knows me all knows, I actually, the godfathers were Ben Franklin, Dale Carnegie, Earl Nightingale, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, Stephen Covey, Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay, Deepak, Marianne, even Oprah. They were like, we are all built on them. And then Marcus Aurelius, Aristotle, we're built on those people. I just happened to show up when the internet was there and tried to teach on the internet. And that was early. That was the thing. All right. So while all that is true, I really believe why you have this nickname isn't just because of what you do. I believe it's because of your leadership inside the personal growth space. I believe it's because
Thank you.
When you see someone else that you mentioned earlier doing 1 billion views or this or that, your instinct is to go, how can I celebrate them? How can I give them even a greater voice? How can I champion them with what they're doing? And that's leadership, right? Because we all hopefully learn in this journey in life, right? One thing I always say is we're not put on this earth to compete with anyone else. I believe we're put on this earth to compete with the person we know we're born capable of becoming. And when we embrace that, it's so freeing, and you fully embrace that. That's why I believe you have the nickname, because all of these other huge thought leaders in the personal growth space, you continue to help them all with their own stuff, and no one sees that behind the scenes. You do it all behind the scenes. So then I'll just broadcast it on the morning show because that's what friends are for. But that is why I believe you have that.
Very kind.
You have that nickname. So anyways, episode 25 today on the Growth Day morning show. Oh my goodness.
Wow, y'all.
I'm on the second coffee, double. People are laughing, but listen, I only did one coffee for the first 4 weeks. But now I'm pulling all-nighters to launch this big event coming up. And so
two guys,
coffees.
While you're here, please do 2 things. One, if you're not an official Growth Day member, go to growthday.com, become an official member so you get Jamie's coaching this month. as well as Jenna Kutcher and Mel Robbins. We still have Anthony Trucks and Gloria Tonbo. This month, you get all of these people who've achieved outstanding things in their lives teaching and coaching you this month, still this month, for Growth Day. Literally 1 month's like education is worth the whole year. So go to growthday.com to become an official member. And also, Jamie has a free event coming up, and it's called becomingunstoppable.com. Becomingunstoppable.com. It's a free event. I mean, talk about the greats. She's got like Tony Robbins and Robin Roberts in there. She's got like actresses and like famous people. And I mean, I'm like, what am I going to do there? I'm so excited. I'm going to speak there too.
You're doing a full keynote. Yeah.
I'm doing a full keynote. It's crazy. It's all live. It's all free. You go to becomingunstoppable.com. Please check it out. And we'll see you back here Monday morning. We're weekdays, Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. Pacific. So set a calendar. Remind yourself. Bring your friends next time if you found any value or something helpful today. We're encouraging you. We're cheering you on. If you want to watch the replays of all this, again, just join Growth Day because we had an amazing week of content and conversations on this broadcast. Like, focus on what a great week. What a great week. Next week, we are back, and I think we're going to jump into like mindset. So I think that'll be a really great conversation. Mindset and belief will be the topics and themes for next week. So, okay. Everyone have a great day. Please remember you're stronger than you think. The future holds good things for you. Every day is a great day to grow. Thanks for joining us today. Thank you, Jamie.
Brendon.